Hi guys, welcome back to another segment of Just Talk About It. Today we're getting into the topic of love. I've been avoiding this or talking about this for a while because God has still been healing me in many different ways. So yeah, let's just get right into it. I'm gonna start off with the motive for why I chose this as a topic for this episode. Mainly because God says we should love everybody, and baby, that's hard for me to do. I'll be so honest, that's so hard for me to do. Like, people who mean you harm, but you're still supposed to treat them well. It's just been a sore subject for me. But we will get into it, y'all. Today we're starting devotion with Luke chapter 6, verse 27 through 28. Okay? And I'm gonna have to look down for a second. I ain't got no teleprompter yet. So, but it says, "But I say unto you which hear, love your enemies, do good to them which hate you, bless them that curse you, and pray for them which despitefully use you." Yeah, that's the scripture. And I am it took me a minute to marinate on that because I know that's what we're supposed to do, but how easy is that to do? Not easy. Because I don't know if it's just me, but my initial reaction when somebody disrespects me is like, I gotta double it. Which is absolutely not the right response. However, that usually was my response. Like, okay, you wanted to act funny, let's get hilarious. Okay? So, but that's not what we're supposed to do. That's not all what we're supposed to do. I even almost had that scripture where he was just like, if somebody slaps your cheek, give them the other to slap. But same concept. And also in this situation, very not me. I'm not about to give you my other cheek to slap after you just slapped me. That's crazy, right? But I think the whole moral of the scriptures and the point is to love somebody the way that you would want to be loved. Not guaranteeing that everything or everybody is going to love you in that way, but you should in order to attract that type of love. Now, just because you're allowing love and grace does not mean that you sit there and allow people to play in your face. You can love people from a distance. You should create boundaries with people so that they don't overstep those. Or if they do overstep those, it's not affecting you. You can't allow people who will cross your boundaries to be close to you, because then the crossing of those boundaries will affect you. Now, if they're not close to you, them crossing boundaries over in this space or wherever they're at, that's not going to affect you because it's over there. Now, if it's in your bubble, in your circle, of course it's going to affect you. You're going to be frustrated and it's going to be a direct result, right? So why would you sit here and love somebody who either disrespects you or spitefully is doing things towards you? Why would you love them, right? And it took me a while to marinate. Like I said, it took me a while to even do this topic for this episode because I was just like, I don't see the point in doing that. I don't see the point in loving people who disrespect you. I don't see the point in loving people who are deliberately, like, they know what they're doing in order to hurt you. Why would I sit there and then show you love after you've shown me so much hate? But it's that God revealed to me that hate is not only like an action or an emotion, it's a spirit. Like, the spirit of hate can jump into people and onto other people. So it's like you're not really so much fighting that person, you're literally fighting the demon that's inside of them. And more than likely, it's more than one. And that's not just for the spirit of hate, that's like for any of the spirits that are attaching to people. Usually it's not just one, usually it's people tag teaming. So you're not just battling against that person, you're battling against the spirit of hate. And you're supposed to combat that with love. That's the only other action to eliminate that. You know what I'm saying? Not saying it's easy or gonna be like a knee-jerk reaction, but that is the proper response. I don't even want to say proper, but that is a response to combat hate. Also, I'm gonna have to do a whole nother episode on forgiveness, but forgiveness definitely ties into love, because once you have that type of grace and forgiveness for not only yourself but for others, you really don't hold on to things as much as you used to. And besides all of that anger that you're storing up, or dislike, or resentment, or any of that, all of that you're storing up is not affecting the person that you're holding it against. They're not feeling none of that, but guess who is? Yes, you and me. Okay, but that's not affecting them. That's only affecting you. So in order for you to get on with your day to day, you don't need to be holding on to any of that energy. Like, let it go. And that's coming from somebody who could not let things go. Still having trouble letting things go. But that's the only way that you could release yourself and the attachment that you have with the situation, or like I said, the anger that you have towards somebody, or a friend, or a family member. And the only way you guys can both get grace is if that is forgiven. So it's not even just for you, it's for them as well, because then they can be redeemed in their own way if they choose to. That's the thing, if they choose to, because some people don't care. They'll take care of forgiveness and be like, oh, that was easy, let me go back and do it again. That's where your boundaries come in. If you guys are dealing with anything of that nature, I would just say let it go and create boundaries so that things like that can't enter your life again. Because once again, just because you're forgiving somebody, or you're still loving them from a distance, loving them as your brother or sister through Christ, does not mean you allow them back into your circle, especially unhealed, and shoot, even healed, because ain't no telling what they still got attached to them. You know what I'm saying? You gotta make sure people are spiritually cleansed before they come back into your, and I don't even want to say spiritually cleansed, because we all have things that we're battling, right? We're all not just pure white, you know what I mean? But you need to make sure that the relationship or friendship that you're entering into is equally yoked, whether it be with a family member, whether it be with a partner, whether it be with a cousin, a friend, a business relationship. Y'all need to make sure that y'all are equally yoked in order for it to be successful. So let's talk about it. This is a little story time on a situation that God put on my heart while I was creating the sections for this episode, right? And I feel like this topic and forgiveness are hand in hand, but I am going to do a separate thing on forgiveness, because they have the same, love and forgiveness have the same properties almost. Like, you have to give it to God and you have to let it go. But I was digging deep into my heart, talking to God and being like, you know what, I feel like I've forgiven everybody. And it's so funny. It's funny now, but it wasn't funny then, because I'm like, God, I've forgiven everybody. You should, like, you know, I feel like there's people that aren't forgiving me. Why can't I be forgiven? I've forgiven everybody. He was like, are you sure? Because there's things even from your childhood that you're not even forgiven about. And I'm like, what are you talking about? He was like, he pointed out this one story. So I was in church and I went to my cousin's church. It was me and my brother and then my 3 cousins. We were pretty young. I probably had to be like 12, 13. And my brother was probably like, I was 13. He was probably like 8. Probably like 7.5 or 8. He probably wasn't even 8 yet. Probably like 7.5. So he's young. So they have like a playground, and we were there so early that they could like go play before the service started. So my brother, being a boy, he rips his pants like in the knees, and this is before like ripped jeans was like a thing. So he had like rips in his jeans and probably like some grass stains or something, because again, he's being a boy, like a 7-year-old boy at that. So yeah. And then all of a sudden we finally meet up because it's time to go into the sanctuary and start service, whatever. So we gather, me and my other cousin Naomi. Hey girl. We're the oldest, so of course we round up our siblings and we're like, okay, like it's time to go into church. There's this usher and she's just like, I guess my brother, I was procrastinating to walk to the sanctuary myself. So I was probably talking to other people like in the lobby and stuff like that. And my brother was already heading into the sanctuary with my cousins. So all of a sudden, I'm seeing them like get held up at the door a little bit. I'm just like, okay, what's going on? So I walk over there and I just see this lady talking bad about my brother because he has holes in his jeans. Like, oh, you can't come in here like that. It's the house of the Lord. You're supposed to pretty much be presenting your best. You're coming in here all raggedy and this, that, and the third. Like an older lady, mind you. Like I said, my brother's like 7. Like, what? And so I just had to talk to the lady. I was just like, girl, don't talk to him like that. First of all, I said don't talk to him like that. He's not homeless. He's not without. However, what if he was? I said your job is to make people feel welcome in church. Mind you, I'm 12 or 13. One of the two. And I'm talking to a, like, she had to be 40 something, like 40 something, 50 something. But I was just like, hey, you don't know who's coming in this church. Like, what if they're homeless and they are coming to church to receive God? You gonna turn them away because they have rips in their jeans? Or because they smell a certain way? I said, that's not your job. And you're about to lose your job because you're not supposed to be at the door doing all this. You're probably turning people away from church instead of bringing them in church. And yes, I told on that lady. But I was like, you need to get her because she don't need to be leading nobody. And I think she lost her ushership after that. But yeah, even in something simple like that, God was just like, you didn't even forgive that lady. And I was like, what do you mean? He was like, every time you tell that story, you have the same disgust, the same anger. Just because you left it alone and don't revisit it often doesn't mean that the feelings that you had during that moment aren't still there. Which was crazy to me because I'm just like, I don't even care about that. He was like, you do though, because every time you tell the story, there's all this animosity, all this anger, all this energy. And he was just like, that means you didn't let it go. And then I started to look at other situations in my life where I'm not dealing with it right now, so of course I don't care about it or I'm not thinking about it. But that doesn't mean the feelings aren't still there just because I didn't deal with them. So I had to pray about that. I'm still praying about that because I haven't forgiven everybody yet. In all honesty, I'm trying my best to give out forgiveness, but I would be lying if I said I've forgiven everybody that has hurt me or done me bad. All I can do is respond in love. God also gave me that revelation not too long ago. He was like, girl, you can't represent violence and represent me at the same time. I was like, I can't. I was like, I can't. But he was just like, no, because you're supposed to be moving in love. It's like violence and love aren't attached unless you're toxic. Speaking from experience. But yeah, they don't match. They don't coincide. So he was just like, if you're always choosing violence in these situations, you're never going to be closer to me or a good representation of me, because you're endorsing that or going straight to that, or oh, this girl disrespected me, oh, she swing, it's whatever. Which, y'all, I don't know what I'm gonna do in that situation. I very rarely have people swing on me first, so it really don't turn into a fight. But I don't know, I feel like that's gonna be like my final test, my ultimate test, if God sends somebody that swings on me first, and I'm gonna have to either choose to defend myself, or I'm gonna have to, I guess in that case, that's turn the other cheek, huh? See, look, I'm like, I'm not finna turn the other cheek, but that's what he said we're supposed to do. I wonder if I could just like, but then, no. You see what I'm saying? I'm not there all the way, y'all. I'm making my way. But it's things like that or scenarios that he puts in my head sometimes when I'm just like, how are you going to react? Because you are a representation of God. So, or becoming one. I don't even think I'm a full-fledged one, because don't look at me yet, y'all. Do not look at me yet. I'm gonna be so honest about that. Don't look at me yet. This is literally a docu-series of my process on how I'm getting to that point, but by no means am I at that point yet. I'm still battling things daily myself. So, but that's also a realization that he's given me. He was just like, I can't even put you as in the forefront of what I have for you if you can't be a proper representation of me. Because people are going to look at you and say, oh, that's how people of God are supposed to act. If you're not on your P's and Q's, then they're going to be like, oh, okay, so I can do this, that, and the third, and that's okay. Or I can do X, Y, and Z. And granted, nobody's perfect, but you should not be so okay with being un-Christ-like. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, you're going to slip up here and there and keep going, but the goal is to progress. You can't have perfection without progress. And even if nobody's going to reach perfection, you still have to progress. You should be progressing. Now, sometimes progression looks like that, but it should be. It shouldn't be that. It should be, you might have some lows, but it should be a continuous upward trajectory. Enough talking. Let's get to another part of our episode. Questions of the day. I only have 2 for you guys today. First question being, which I thought was really important and was actually very surprisingly hard for me to answer. First question: what are the requirements / boundaries for your love? And I feel like sometimes we have an idea in our head of what our boundaries are or what our requirements are. But I had to think about that, because a lot of people who learn your requirements can just take your requirements and be like, okay, it's like a checklist. It's like, okay. I did everything to acquire what you say you need from me or what you want from me. Check. Give me your love type deal. You know what I'm saying? But I think it's important to have boundaries along the way as we're unfolding our love to anybody, friends, family, depending on your family. I feel like that's half and half. Friends, family, relationships, all of that. I feel like there are boundaries. Well, yeah, you should still have boundaries with family. And baby, that one is hard. Very worth it after you get through it, but that's hard, creating those boundaries for yourself and for your sanity. But my requirements for love, I feel like, are honesty. That's really it, because I feel like I can get over a lot. I can really get over a lot as long as everything's being honest throughout the whole thing. I don't really trip too much. What I end up tripping about is principle, because it's just like, why lie? You could have just said that. I'm very much a you could have just said that type person. Oh, you feeling like that? You could have just said that. You didn't have to. Yeah, you could have just handled everything up front. You didn't have to beat around the bush or go up and down and behind and around. Like, you could have just said that. So really, my requirement for love is honesty and loyalty. Although I feel like loyalty, little side note, I feel like loyalty is a great thing for people, but don't let that be a crutch to you. As somebody who is, in my opinion, overly loyal, I feel like I'm overly loyal to a lot of situations and to a lot of people. If those things aren't spiritually benefiting you anymore, and I say spiritually because a lot of people base their relationships off of what's visually appealing and what you think can gain you this, that, and the third, and that's more so using people versus it being spiritually effective and beneficial for you. So yeah, it's okay to let things go that are draining you and not benefiting you in a positive way. Like, you should let those things go so that you can grow and flourish. But yeah, don't be overly loyal, y'all, because that can be the point of your demise. Being overly loyal to something that is not serving you. So yeah, but I do require that. I need to feel a type of loyalty, and not loyalty in the point that you just go take my side or anything versus anybody else, but loyalty enough to know that you're gonna keep it real with me as I try to figure out how to be a better person. You know what I mean? Because I'm the type of friend or person, period, if I love you and I feel like you're not doing your best or you're slacking in some area, I'm gonna let you know. And I expect my friends to be like, oh girl, no. And some people don't believe that. I've had experience where it's just like, oh, I didn't know what to say. Baby, say it. Like, we supposed to be friends. Y'all, if you can't be honest with your friend, they're not your friend, period. You should be able to be like, my friends have told me about myself, and as painful as it was to hear, it was necessary. And I only grew from that situation, and had that not been said, I probably would have been stagnant in the same area. And you got to be careful, because some friends are okay with that. So make sure you're evaluating who's being loyal enough to speak up and be honest. Loyalty and honesty to me is one-on-one. I feel like those are the requirements to my love. You gotta be honest and you gotta be loyal to our friendship. Even to the point where if it's not serving you, you can speak up and say that. Be like, hey, I gotta step away because this isn't serving me anymore. What I'm gonna say? I'm gonna just have to be like, okay. And get on my bully and step it up if I want that friendship to sustain, or just let it go and maybe that's how it's supposed to be, which is okay. Grow apart. Like, people grow apart, and again, if it's supposed to circle back, it will, but at an elevated level, because there's growth that needs to be done on both ends, period. What are the boundaries to my love? Now that was the hardest part for me to answer, because I feel like once I give it, it'd be so much on my brain that it's just like, to have the emotion to sit here and hold back love that I've already started to offer is just kind of like. And granted, I'm pretty sure there's more requirements in order to obtain the love, but I'm blanking right now, and I feel like those are the two most important things. Everything subcategory can fall under those two things: honesty and loyalty. But yeah, I learned that you're not supposed to just dish everything out at once and give everything all at once, because that's how people are able to take advantage of you. But it'd be too much on my mind to be sitting here and just withholding, and it's just like, no, if I mess with you, like, it's whatever. Like, it's whatever. So I think that's something that I need to think about more often. Is creating boundaries along the way, because some people play the long game too, you know what I'm saying, as far as how much they can see, or to see how much they can get out of you. So at the same time, I kind of like to get it out the way, so it's just like, you got everything, whatever you was expecting more, it's not. So if that was it, goodbye. Right. So, but then also it's like people take advantage of you that quick too, so it's, you got to be careful. You got to have boundaries. So I'm still marinating on that one. I hope you guys got your journal, you're thinking about that too. What are the boundaries to your love? Second question: is discussing love language necessary for a healthy relationship? Whether it be relationship, friendship, once again, relationship with your family, relationship is encompassing all relationships. My opinion, I'm half and half. I put this question in here because I'm curious to get you guys' response. Feel free to leave them down in the comments or anything, but I don't know. I think love language is helpful, like, to discuss, But I feel the same thing about dishing out your love without the boundaries. I feel like if you sit here and give everybody the playbook in order to get to your heart or to your love, they're going to use that. You know what I mean? So if you're like, oh, I'm words of affirmation, now all of a sudden it's all these words of affirmation, but it's just like, do you mean it? I feel like you guys both have to subconsciously know each other's love languages. It is something that you can discuss, I feel like, later on. But I feel like in the beginning, if you're dealing with people or learning people or whatever, I feel like you should know your own love language and then see if they're adding up to that. I feel like in a way that's not fair because they don't know. Like, they can't change anything if they don't know, and that's very true. However, they can change if they do know, and that still might not be because they actually care. It's just because that's what you asked for. You know what I'm saying? I guess. But if they care, they changed it. I don't know. That's a big gray area for me. I feel like discussing love languages can be beneficial for sure, because then people know how to treat you. But then I feel like that's all they do is use that as a way to treat you, versus encompassing probably all of the things you like and just being a good I don't want to say partner, because like I said, we're talking about all relationships. A good a friend, family, partner. That. So I'm 50-50 on the topic. I think it's necessary because you need to know how to deal with the person you're dealing with. Yeah, I'm curious to hear you guys answer, because I'm back and forth on the answer. I'm not sure. All right, guys. Well, that was that. Now we are moving to the helpful hints of the day. I took my time coming up with this one too, because I was like, what can you do to show yourself love besides like a hobby or whatever? Helpful hint of the day, which was actually so cute when I did it, when I thought about it. Helpful hint of the day. Write yourself a love letter from the perspective of a secret admirer. Because we can sit here and dish out all this love to other people, but we can't give love if we're not giving ourselves love. And yes, self-care is important. That's a form of love for sure. But I didn't want to be like generic, because we all try to do self-care and find time for self-care. That's fine. But what is something that'll really mentally have you like, oh no, like I love that about myself? Write yourself a letter. You know, mine's not in this book, but mine was, girl, I see you across the room. I see you been in that gym. I see you been recording things. I see you getting on your entrepreneur bag. Girl, you fine. Independent. Charismatic. Every time you walk in a room, it's magic. Something like that. You would talk to yourself like that. You're so busy talking to all these other people like that. Talk to you like that. And see how good you feel about yourself. Like, girl, I see you when you had waxed them legs. You're smooth, like pig skin. It's not really like, okay, but you get the point. Like, raise yourself up, because you deserve that. You're amazing. And once you talk to yourself like that, when other people come talking to you crazy, you're gonna be like, that don't sound like how I was talking to myself earlier. That's not it. That's not it. I talk to me better than that. You're gonna have to step it up. I'm telling you. So yeah, I would just encourage you to do that, like maybe like once a month, because we're changing constantly. So once a month to encourage the changes that you're going through. And even if you don't like the changes that you're going through, I encourage you to make differences so that you could become the person that you want to be. Okay? All right. So yes, I know these solo episodes are really short, but I really just be getting to it. I feel like it's boom, bam, blank, pow. We just get into it. So thank you so much for joining me on this quick little segment of Just Talk About It. Soon I'm going to be getting me some co-hosts and some people to talk to so we can get a little bit more deeper and interview some people and talk about things that they've gone through in life and things like that. So if you would like to be a part of the podcast, please comment down below if you know anybody that you would like to see me talk to or receive some healing, so we can receive healing together, because baby, I'm still healing too. But please drop their tag, send this to somebody, send this to your family, send this to somebody who needs to let go of all that hatred and fill their heart up with love, all of the things. So again, thank you guys so much for joining me today. I hope to see you guys next time. Bye.